Come on, Minnesota. Just sign Aaron Rodgers already, please. All right. Well, welcome to another Friday night hangout here at I'm Not a Coach. How's your day going? Hopefully your week went well, and hopefully your weekend is looking phenomenal, man. Hopefully there's not a lot going on for your weekend. Get to relax a little bit. But yeah, man. Holy cow, how's it going? David Stegosaurus, hello to you, sir. How are you? Hope you're doing well, my dude. But yeah, man, quite a week, man. A lot of free agency. We'll get to some of that here. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to break down every single thing, but we will definitely talk about some of the bigger names as well as some of the bigger contracts. We'll try to keep them to the ones that we actually know the actual contract. But yeah, man, wild. And David doing well. It's super windy. Oh, yeah, dude, it's been windy where I'm at too, here in Wisconsin. It's been very, very windy. How are things there? Oh, yeah, very windy here, but it's been beautiful. Weather, the last like 5 days has been like somewhere around the 50, 60 degrees. It's been great. Have I been able to spend any time outside? Absolutely not. Just been home, just working, but it's been nice to kind of go out every once in a while and just not have to worry about shoveling snow, scraping ice, or just needing about an extra 7 pounds of clothing. So I will take it. So yeah, but it's been nice, man. It's been nice. And holy cow, we getting some news right here. And it just broke about an hour ago. At this point, sorry. It looks like Cooper Kupp is staying in the NFC West. He is going to the Seattle Seahawks. Holy macaroni. Let's go. And they're saying on Twitter that, oh, there you go, Seahawks with a nice little welcome back to the state of Washington. Coming home, Cooper Kupp. Let's go. Yeah, I know there was talks of the Packers signing Cup at all. I would have been surprised, to be honest with you. It would have been, if it was anything, it was going to be a 1 year pretty cheap deal, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's a 3 year, $45 million contract with the Seahawks. There's no indication of any guaranteed money, but we'll see. Uh, that's honestly disappointing. Boo the Sea Chickens. Well, those darn Sea Chickens, man. They're always they're always up to something. Always up to something. When they're catching game losing interceptions apparently, or I don't know. I'm pretty sure they cheated during that NFC Championship game against the Packers. I don't have any proof, and there's never been any indication that's ever happened in the last 11 years. But why not? I'm gonna start a rumor. Yeah, I say the Seahawks cheated in the NFC Championship game. That's what I think. Yeah, that onside kick. There was something wrong. There was something weird about that ball. I don't know. Might have been deflated. Might have been overinflated. I don't know. That's what we're going to do this Friday. We're just going to start coming up with wild rumors for games that happened over a decade ago. Why, you might ask? For the chaos. The chaos. All right, so it looks like Justin Fields will be wearing number 7 for the Jets, man. I was about to say, Actually, they give us a list here. So Geno Smith, Frank Reich, Boomer Esiason, and Kevin O'Brien have worn that number 7. So I mean, he's in decent company. But yeah, man, holy macaroni. All right, let's get to the first signing that I want to talk about here. We're just gonna, once again, these are just gonna be little breaking down the contract. I'm gonna try to keep it to contracts that we know, not only the total but the guaranteed money, the potential outs, things like that. Don't worry, I'll pepper in some guys that maybe the contract is not fully there, kind of like Sam Darnold, guys like that, where we just don't have the entire breakdown of the contract. But obviously, it's a big name, so I will definitely talk about those guys as well. And then, so first one I want to talk about is a guy that I was kind of interested in for the Packers to kind of take a look at, but I knew that it was not going to be likely, especially once the numbers started coming out of how much he was going to make per year. And that is the defensive tackle for the former Philadelphia Eagle, Milton Williams, who signed a 4-year, $104 million contract with the New England Patriots. That contract has had about $55 million in guarantees. I think it was a little bit more than that. I think it was like around 63. But that's what's guaranteed through the first 2 years, which is when the potential out for the Patriots is. But that's an average of $26 million a year, man. That is wild. David's second story is wild rumor. James Harrison used magnets to get that interception return for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I knew it, man. It looked weird. You know, it was a throw to the left. I was like, come on. And you know what, dude? I think I think they put magnets on the Cardinals players too. That's why nobody was able to tackle him. You know, seemed like every time somebody got close, just couldn't bring him down. See? Unbelievable. The NFL is rigged. And not in the way we thought. It's actually magnets. Unbelievable. See, it's not even the ref's fault. Well, not completely, at least. Maybe, 51-49. We'll say it that. See, magnets and the refs ruining the NFL. Unbelievable. But yeah, Milton Williams, he was having a okay season, regular season for the most part. He was solid. He was strong. Nothing splashy in terms of like the sack numbers. I think he finished with it was less than 5, less than 4 in the regular season. But the playoffs, that Super Bowl, we've seen it before. We've seen big men have big games on the grandest stage, and then they get paid. And I'm kind of happy for the kid, man. Before this contract, he literally, over the last 4 years, he had made less than $7 million throughout the life of his NFL career. And yes, it's $7 million, but we're talking relative here. So yeah, so this kid definitely, if he can get most of that guaranteed money, he will basically, it'll be basically 10 times as much as he has earned through his first 4 years in the NFL, which is wild. David, Magnets and the Revs. Sounds like a new indie rock band. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. The Magnets and the Refs. Dude, they better have a killer bassist, all right? Otherwise, no. Not going to happen. And holy cow, man, here we go. So this is some more breaking news from a couple hours ago. The Bills signed Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hotchett, and both of those guys were caught for PEDs and will be suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Holy cow. Well, that's an auspicious start there for those guys in over there in Buffalo. All right. But yeah, man, Milton Williams. It's I think they said that his market at before he signed that contract was going to be somewhere around 18 million per year, maybe 20 at the max. Well, he got 26, and granted, once again, it could easily just be a 2-year, $55 million contract, which is a little bit more manageable, but still, that's insane. 2 years, 55 million is a lot for a guy that for the most part had just been good to almost very good at times. And I don't even think Milton would be considered the best player on that defensive line for the Eagles by any means. So it's gonna be crazy to see the what the Eagles are gonna have to pay some of those guys on that line over the next year or two. So yeah, but Milton Williams, congratulations to the kid, man. Like I said, I've said that on this channel. We root for guys to get their first big contract. We always do, regardless if they leave the Packers, they sign with the Packers, or they just go to a rival. Whatever it is, man, it's always good to see these guys that have been working their entire lives for this moment be able to, kind of make some bank, man. Especially that first contract. It's always big. All right, next we'll go to a man that is leaving Detroit and headed to New England, and that is Carlton Davis. This was a guy that I was hoping the Packers would be in the mix for. I didn't want to overpay for him, which by the looks of it, the Patriots had zero problem overpaying for him. Especially with the contract that he had, 3 years, 54 million, 34.5 million guaranteed. There is a potential out in 2027 after 2 years for 37 million, and he'll only carry a $5.5 million dead cap at the end of that 2 years. So not too bad, but definitely more than I think the Packers were willing to pay for a guy that is coming off a pretty nasty arm injury, I believe. It was at the end of the season there. And plus Carlton Davis, he's a little up there. I think he's like 28, going to be 29 in the next few months. So about 3 years older than Hobbs. So, but again, I liked Davis as a corner. I think immediately he would have been our number one guy. Even I was gonna say even with Jair, but I think he would have been a really solid option outside with Jair and Carrington Valentine. That would have been a solid 3 right there. But especially if Jair does leave, Carlton Davis I think would have been able to slot in pretty nicely. I think he likes the kind of defense that Halfley does run. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of man, and very aggressive. And I think Carlton Davis, I mean, we saw what he did in Detroit, and if he could have done that with Green Bay, even for a year or two, I think it would have been worth the 34 million. But I get it. The Packers, they like their guys younger. I think if Davis was even just 26, I think the Packers would have probably pulled the trigger on that one. But at 28, going to be 29, I think the Packers are like, we'll roll the dice on a younger guy with maybe a little bit more ascension. So I'm just trying to catch up on some newer stuff here, kind of going in between what I wrote down to kind of what's been happening the last the last few hours here. Oh, former Green Bay Packer Corey Ballantyne has signed with the Colts. But good for Corey, man. Hopefully they give him some decent cash. And of course, it would not be a free agency period without the Vikings frickin' signing one of the Green Bay Packers free agents. Of course, Eric Wilson spent his first 4 seasons with the Vikings. Granted, he's going back home, so I guess we stole him first, but still, come on, Minnesota, come on. But yeah, Eric Wilson going back to the Minnesota Vikings. He was very solid for us this past season. I was not gonna lie to you. I was kind of surprised that they did not choose to try to retain him. There is no information on what the contract is for Eric Wilson, but likely something relatively close to the veteran minimum. He's a rotational linebacker. All right, let me see here. David Stegosaurus. The Packers like their guys younger. Oh, jeez. Drake? Who? What? Hmm? They like Oh boy. Hey, Green Bay. I heard him like. I heard you like him young. Oh no, no, no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. They're gonna ban me from the draft. They're gonna be like, "Aren't you the guy that's?" And I was like, "No, not me." Um, they like fresher. No, it just sounds worse. Somehow that sounds worse. I think I'm making this worse. Um, they don't like them decrepit. There we go. There we go. See, it's insulting to the old, but it sounds less creepy. There you go. Yeah, the Packers don't like their players decrepit. It's not significantly better, but it is better. There you go. All right. So we'll keep it going here. So Sam Darnold obviously signed with the Seattle Seahawks after they traded away Geno Smith. Right now, the only thing we know about Sam Darnold's contract is it's a 3-year, $100 million contract. There has been some rumors that it's worth somewhere around anywhere between 40 to maybe 60 million guaranteed, but again, pure speculation. There has been nobody that's been able to put an exact number that's been confirmed. So we'll just keep it at that 3 years, 100 million, which is let me see here. But yeah, somewhere around 55 million is what's been potentially reported, but who knows? David, thank you. Oh, recovery smooth as an ice skater, right? All right, looking at God, man, when is Aaron Rodgers just gonna sign with somebody? For the love of Moses, God, even when he's not on a team, this guy takes forever to make a decision. Jesus. Dude, if I'm the Giants, I'm like, dude, you either tell us by the end of Monday, or we'll just sign Danny DeVito's agent at this point to be the backup to Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito, Tommy DeVito. My goodness. Oh my God, that'd be hilarious, dude. I would literally buy season tickets to the Giants if they signed Danny DeVito as their quarterback. Oh my God, dude. See, this is what happens when I've been editing for hours. Like the brain just does not function anymore. But yeah, no. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I mean, why wouldn't you want to go to the Steelers right now? Especially if they do want you. It's the offense looks a lot better than the Giants right now. They have more weapons. Um, they don't really have a running game a whole lot right now without with Jaden Warren is really their only. Sorry, Jalen Warren is really their only proven back right now, but they'll probably draft a guy somewhere. Rodgers hasn't actually been a free agent very long. It feels like it because we were told about his release weeks ago. Oh, absolutely, because I think he was only officially released on Wednesday, right? At the beginning of the new NFL season or year, I should say. But yeah, no, he's only been a free agent for a couple days, and I think it was weird because like apparently agents weren't able to talk to him even during like the tampering period, which was really strange. But which I understand. I guess he was still under contract, but I don't know, man. It's such a weird, weird stipulation for the NFL. It's like they know he's gonna be released. Just let him talk to some people. But I get it. I guess you have to have like a cutoff or at least a beginning to when that can happen. So, but yeah, no. But yeah, it'll be interesting where Rodgers goes, where he chooses. I think it's going to be with Pittsburgh. I'd be surprised if he does go to the Giants. Even though I think I predicted, not predicted, I stated that the Giants were one of the teams that I could see him going to about 3 weeks ago or so. Might have been a month ago. I put a poll out for it, and surprisingly, there was like a couple people that actually I think picked the Giants on that poll. But yeah, it just made sense at the time because I think the Giants, one, obviously he wouldn't have to move, and not only would he have to move probably apartments or whatever he has there, but he wouldn't even have to really move stadiums at all. He would just probably have to move to the other side of the stadium, into the Giants locker room. So it just made sense. Plus, they're a team that needs a quarterback. Like I said, Tommy DeVito, not Danny. Tommy DeVito is the only quarterback I think that at the time when I made that poll, he was the only guy that was under contract. I think since then they've signed somebody else. But still nobody that could really truly compete for a starting job in the NFL. And once again, they have young weapons. They're probably going to add more. The offensive line is terrible, which is what they need to focus on. But that defense for the Giants is slightly better than it has been the last 2.5 years or 3 years ago. So apparently Diana Rossini reported that the Vikings are reviving their interest in Rodgers, and he is waiting on that before making a decision. Oh boy, geez. I've heard that too. I guess if there's smoke, there's fire. Like this is something that I've been hearing for the last 2 or 3 weeks. That like the Vikings. At first, I thought it was just like, yeah, we're all hoping it happens because it's exactly what Brett Favre did, a bunch of years ago. Rodgers obviously did the same thing. He left Green Bay for the Jets. Now he's going to go to the Vikings, right? But I mean, it's been reported by multiple people, or at least it's been rumored. I should say, not reported. It's been rumored by multiple people, and I mean, there has to be something there, right? You would think. Um, but yeah, I think it would be a bad decision for the Vikings, in my opinion, to bring Rodgers. I think not even because of the drama. It's not even that. I don't think that there is a guarantee that Rodgers is going to be significantly better, and I mean significantly better than a potentially uh, healthy JJ McCarthy. Granted, we don't know what JJ McCarthy is as a quarterback. He looked good in the preseason before he tore his knee up, but it's preseason. You know, we've seen guys have really good games and then they just nothing ever happens. But the kid looked good in college. He looked good when he was practicing, and you could tell that he was probably a year away from being the franchise quarterback. And there's a reason why they didn't sign Sam Darnold, in my opinion. I mean, talking about the Vikings, is because I think they want to put their trust in JJ, but they also want to be smart and have a backup in case things go wrong. Because I think they have a very, very talented roster, and they don't want to waste that. They don't want to waste the years that they have, even if need to be patient with JJ. And but anyway, going back to why I think Rodgers is a bad decision is, one, I don't think Rodgers is the kind of guy that is going to be okay with saying, "Hey, you'll start 4 to 8 games, and then once we feel comfortable, we'll put in the kid, and you'll be his backup." I don't think Rodgers wants that. I think if he does go anywhere, he wants to be the number one guy for that year at least. You know, and I think there's reports that he wants a multi-year contract. We'll see if somebody gives him that. Probably somebody like the Steelers or the Giants are willing to do that, but I don't think the Vikings would be willing to give him a 2-year contract. Um, Especially if there was any type of guaranteed money in the second year or any kind of like cap hit that would make it difficult for them to move on. So yeah, and plus I think the Vikings are better suited for somebody like, I think there's plenty of other backups that I think you can put in that if JJ needed a couple of days or a couple of weeks to kind of get situated again, I think you can survive with the talent that you have on that roster with lesser quarterback talent than Aaron Rodgers. Like Jameis Winston, I think Jameis would easily be okay with coming in, playing a couple games, or even being a backup if JJ outplayed him. I think Winston is a great locker room guy. I think he's well liked by almost everybody that has ever played with him in the league. He's a weird dude. He's a goofy guy, and I think he would keep it light. And I think he would, try to coach or mentor JJ. Hopefully, keeping the turnovers to himself. But yeah, man, that's a guy that I would probably pick over Rodgers at this point, just because I think there's potentially less ego and less of an issue when it came to being benched. I think Rodgers wouldn't take that well, and I think he would be he'd be like a very similar to Daniel Jones, where he's like, hey, if you want to bench me, that's fine, but I don't want to be on this team. I'm not gonna make a big stink about it, but I do want to be released so I can go to another team that needs me. And I think the Vikings should avoid that, in my opinion. Let me see here. Oh, speaking of the Vikings, they signed Will Fries, the guard out of from Indianapolis. They gave him a 5-year, $87.7 million contract with $34 million guaranteed. at the time of signing, I believe, and the contract has a potential out in 2027. So after year two, where they only have to pay him 35 million, and weirdly enough, no dead cap money after that second year, which is I don't think I've ever seen that in a contract, at least not the one that I've researched this year. But yeah, man. So Will Fries, he's been one of the better guards for sure. Definitely slightly overpaid. Because I don't think he was in the top three in terms of potential guards that you could have picked up. I think even Aaron Banks was ranked above him, but once again, rankings, who knows what that means? It's always about how the player actually develops and kind of integrates into the system. So it could easily he could easily be the best free agent signing of the year. But he's a solid guy. I think he was one of the better linemen that they had over there in Indy. I think he was mostly consistent. He was the most consistent, I should say. And yeah, the Vikings, man, shelling out some big money there. But once again, it's a 2-year, $35 million contract. Because once again, after the second year, the next 2 years after that, there is zero dead money. So they could literally cut him without having anything on the books. So I think that was a really solid signing by Minnesota. I think it's going to be very cap friendly for the most part. And Minnesota's been pretty active. They also signed Jonathan Allen, the tackle out of Washington. They gave him a 3-year, $51 million contract. Jonathan was actually a player that I was looking for the Packers to potentially look into, just because I thought he was going to be a relatively cheap option. Once again, relatively, I was still thinking that they would have to shell out like probably a little more than $10 million a year, but maybe you can get away with. And the Packers only like to guarantee the first year of any contract for the most part, and but yeah, that did not happen. Jonathan is going to be making $23 million in guarantees during the signing, and he's going to make $33 million over the next 2 years on that 3-year contract. They have a potential out after the second year. I think they only owe him less than $5 million in dead cap after that. So I think the big issue with that contract with the Packers would have been the second year. Jonathan Allen has dealt with injuries, inconsistent play, and on top of that, the guy is 30 years old. That is right there. Those are 3 things that the Packers tend to avoid when it comes to free agents. They don't really sign anybody that's closing in on 29 years old, let alone 30. And then injuries along with inconsistent play. Because at one point, Jonathan Allen was basically almost a healthy scratch during his last year with Washington. So, but yeah, Minnesota decided to roll the dice and see, and hey man, if the dude can go back to what he was, what was it like 3 years ago when he was basically a Pro Bowler. 2 years for $33 million. That's gonna be a relative bargain for the most part. And yeah, I'm just hoping all of these contracts just blow up in the Vikings' face, because otherwise it's gonna suck. And another guy that I'll talk about quickly here is a guy that not only were Packer fans hoping that he would sign in with Green Bay, but it was also a position of need. But also the Grassi posse, Tom Grassi, was banging the drum for this guy, and that was DJ Reed, the corner from the New York Jets. And instead, the guy goes and signs for the Detroit Lions for a pretty decent contract. We don't know all the numbers yet, but it is a 3-year, $48 million contract, and potentially $32 million of that is guaranteed. I think that was what probably caused the Packers to drop out of that potentially. there wasn't a whole lot of noise. Whether the Packers were truly in on DJ Reed, he's a little bit older as well. I think he is 27, 28. So kind of on that borderline of the Packers probably not really caring to look at him too deeply. Plus, he's been relatively healthy, but he's also dealt with some injuries. With some inconsistent play over the last year, especially. Let me see here. So yeah, DJ 28, going to be 29 in November. So yeah, probably a little bit older than what the Packers were looking for. And like I said, Hobbs is 25 years old, going to be 26. So definitely on the younger side, more upside potentially, and cheaper. Basically, they were able to get away with giving Hobbs the same amount per for the total contract, but for an extra year plus potentially half of the guaranteed money that Detroit is going to be giving Reed here. All right, let's take a quick pause here and let me ask you guys a few questions. One, what did you think of free agency? Was there anybody that really popped out to you? What any contract, any player? How was your team? Were you happy with what your team did? Otherwise, what do you think that they can still do? Is there anybody that you're still looking for them to sign? And then finally, what is something that you're looking forward to in the draft? Whether that's a player, whatever it is. Let me know. I'm gonna read for a few seconds here while you guys type that out. If you would, let me know. And David, the Chiefs did nothing flashy, but also nothing too crazy. So that's a relief in many ways. Yeah, man. It seems like the Chiefs really just re-signed a lot of their own guys, which is I think a good thing. And those guys, I mean, they deserve to be re-signed for sure. The fact that you've made 3 consecutive Super Bowls is, I think that shows that you probably have the right guys in the locker room here at this point. Yeah, let me look at the Chiefs here because I know they just signed Kareem Hunt. Yep. And oh my goodness, they signed. Oh no. Oh no. They just signed Gardner Minshew yesterday. Oh my god, Brendan Perna is gonna. That's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. And that is awesome, man. I hope Perna had a reaction to Gardner Minshew signing with the Chiefs. Yeah, but Nick Bolton re-signed. That's another big guy that, man, they needed him back in the middle, man. It's been great for him. Brenda wasn't happy about Gardner. Oh man, dude. Oh god, that's hilarious. I gotta watch one of their. I think they went live today. They have to. I have to watch that at some point when I get a chance. But oh, that's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. But yeah, you can definitely tell that the Chiefs are just trying to bring back as many guys as they can afford. But on top of that, really thrift shop. You know, I think they signed, who was the running back that they just signed? It wasn't Kareem Hunt. Come on. Am I crazy or didn't they sign Biscuits? Hold on. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Oh no, yeah, right here. My goodness, Elijah Mitchell. That's who I was thinking of. I was like, man, there was a guy that they just signed. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, Elijah Mitchell. A lot of potential with him as a kind of like a situational back. Definitely not going to be the number one back there in KC, but I think he's a really solid rotational guy. Gives them a little bit something different than what they have in Kareem. And then they signed Christian Fulton there, man. Holy cow. It's actually a pretty decent signing. There we go. There we go. So yeah, man. Yeah, I agree. Kansas City has been just slowly bringing back some of their bigger players that they need, um, especially in like specific spots like running back, like linebacker. Those are not the most flashy. You know, they're not. I think they brought back. Let me see, who did they bring back at wide receiver? Oh, Hollywood. Exactly. Forget he signed a, what was it, a 10 year, sorry, 1 year, $10 million contract, and that was a couple weeks ago, I think. But yeah, man. So yeah, they're doing everything they can to try to bring in, those guys that that have like some rapport with the guys already in the locker room. But I think they're avoiding any big splash plays because I don't think they can afford them right now, especially with the contracts that they have already on the roster. So this is going to be a kind of running it back one more time before you start to see the Chiefs, I think, start to shed a lot of the older contracts. And you're starting to see some guys, Justin Reed, he left. Um, and I think Kelsey would have been gone if you wanted to retire, but they're going to try to bring him back one more time. I think Kelsey, this is going to be his last season. He's going to try to get one more ring before he hangs him up. Oh, man, dude. The Bears signed Olamide Zacchaeus, one of my favorite guys who, when he was playing over there in Washington, he was, I think he was solid. See here, stats: 45 catches, 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Those are those are solid number three, number four wide receiver numbers right there. Sorry, solid number 3, very high, and number 4 receiver numbers right there. That was a receiver that I was hoping the Packers would once again look into to try to bring in some competition. Because I feel like Zacchaeus, he's been fairly productive for the most part in his career, and he just seems like he's a smart player. Still only 27. Gonna be 28 though in a couple months. Yeah, it seems like almost every season he's north of 400 yards. Always has a good amount of a decent amount of touchdowns for a role player. But it's a solid signing right there by the Bears. They've been doing well too. The Bears have been really really solid in free agency. It's really annoying. All right. And so before we continue with some of the free agents here that we'll talk about, um, I just dropped a new video just a few hours ago. Please, if you get a chance to check it out, it is the first of the It's Not a Film Room series. This one is breaking down the opening drive by the Baltimore Ravens against the Chiefs in Week 1, opening drive of the 2024 season. It was a really solid drive, man. It was a great drive, actually, for them. It featured a lot of the things that they would basically that really established them as one of the better teams in the AFC this season. The running game wasn't always the most consistent, especially on that drive and especially in that game. But it was you could see the flashes of what was developing. And a couple of weeks later, obviously, Derrick Henry would finally explode after a few quiet games to start his career over there in Baltimore. And then it just, if it wasn't for Saquon, I think by far Derrick Henry would have had the one would have been the most impressive running back of the season. But it was a really solid game, opening drive for them, and man, it was a good one. I think it was one of my better videos that I've done. The editing was very different from what I'm used to. I was actually editing, NFL film along with just my voice, so I definitely had to kind of work things out. But yeah, let me know what you think. If there's something that you want me to add to it, something that you didn't like, let me know too. I'm trying to improve it. I already have a few notes that I'm going to try to improve on to the next videos as well. But yeah, check it out if you get a chance. Oh, sweet. Hey, thanks, David. Heck yeah, man. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, those videos are going to be a little bit longer than I thought. I was not lying to you. I was thinking, oh, they'll probably be 12 to 16 minutes. I think they're going to be a little bit around, or if not north of 20 minutes, but hopefully they're entertaining. I think as I get better at breaking down that film, I think I'll be a little bit more concise in my approach, and hopefully that'll cut down on some of the the length of those videos. And on top of that, the more I learn about editing film and stuff like that, I think it'll make it a little bit better and a little bit more dynamic. But yeah, man, it's something that I've never done before, so I'm definitely going to be getting better at that as it goes along. But yeah, let me know what you think when you have a chance. So, but yeah, thank you, David. I really do appreciate you watching that, man. It's that's a big deal for me, so I appreciate it. All right, let's continue on one more time here. We'll go with Cameron Bynum, man, the Minnesota safety who actually is now going to the Colts. So the Colts stole William Fry from Indy, and then now Indy has stolen Minnesota's safety there, and they offered Bynum $4 million, $60 million of that, $60 million total, 26 of that guaranteed at the time of signing, and there is a potential out after 2 years with only a $9 million dead cap hit after that. So pretty solid contract. Definitely high up there. $15 million a year for a guy that was, I think, to be honest with you, I think he was just okay over there in Minnesota. I don't think he was by any means a true Pro Bowler, All Pro safety. But at the end of the day, the market is what the market is, and I'm happy for the guy, man. This is his first big contract, so congratulations to Bynum on cashing in, man. Getting that Brinks truck backed into his house there. So congratulations to the kid, and hopefully he finds some success, man. And now that he's no longer part of the the purple incarnation of Satan, as Grassi likes to call them. So, but yeah, man, that was another guy that I was hoping the Packers could kind of look into. I know they reworked their safety room and they looked a lot better, significantly better actually, this past offseason. But man, I feel like they still haven't truly found the true number one complement to Xavier McKinney, and I think Bynum could have been that big guy that can play the run. Not McKinney is the coverage guy, and I think Bynum could have been the guy that's underneath. Picking up doing the dirty work basically. But he's gonna go to Indy, and hopefully the dude has some success, because I think that Indy defense is just a few players away from kind of getting back to what they were a few years ago. Alrighty. Bum, bum, bum. And then this is also another player that Packer fans were clamoring for. This is Paulson Adebo, the corner from New Orleans. He signed a 3-year contract with the Giants that will pay him $54 million over the life of the contract, but 34.75 is guaranteed at the time of signing. And similar to most contracts nowadays, there's an out after 2 years, $40 million, and there's only a $5 million cap hit after that 2 year little window there. So yeah, if it doesn't work out, it was basically a 2 year, $40 million, which is insane to pay for $20 million. That's a lot of money for a guy that has been really solid. He's been really good. Once again, if the Packers would have paid him that, I would have been like, hey, we need him. We need him for sure. The Packers' depth at corner is thin, to say the least. So sometimes you gotta overpay to bring in a guy that has the potential to be a solid number one. If not a complementary to your number one. And Adebo is, relatively young, still is still going to be probably ascending in terms of his ability to play the position. And yeah, man, it's going to be interesting how he does over there in New York, because I don't think there's a true complement to him right now. I think if they find somebody in the draft, I think it'll be a lot better for him. Otherwise, that's going to be a lot of pressure for that kid to try to basically do a facelift to a secondary that was really underperforming for almost the entire season. And I think obviously losing McKinney was a big part of that. And man, so I don't know. The Giants are going to have to definitely rework that secondary. David, I prefer liquid number ones and solid number twos. Well, sometimes you got to risk the liquid number twos to have a good time, right? Sometimes you just gotta eat that thing that's been sitting out for a bit. You're like, it's I forgot to finish it. Should I reheat it? No. The pizza's been out for like a day. Probably not good, but you know what? It's pizza. It'll be fine. Yeah, it's meat, man. There's plenty of salt in there. It's preserved. Also, do you guys reheat your pizzas? If I have the time and the will, I will. Otherwise, I'm just eating that pizza, man. I don't care if it was the cutoff is like typically like a day and a half. That's usually when I'm like, eh. But I would be lying if I said I've never eaten a cold, like day old, day and a half old pizza. AKF, what's going on, dude? I was really hoping the pack would get Dante Fowler. Oh, Dante, man, yeah. Dante, situational guy for sure. Um, I just think that I don't know, man. Sometimes the Packers confuse me for what because there's a lot of pass rushers that they could have easily picked up, and they're kind of just sitting on their hands a little bit here. But I understand they don't want to go too overboard with the contracts. But man, sometimes you get come on, just risk it one for just one guy. One guy. It doesn't have to be a massive contract, but yeah. I reheat pizza in the microwave, but only when it went into the refrigerator in a timely manner after being hot. That's fair. That's fair. See, man, you're a significantly more responsible human being. Me, I'm like, it's Pizza Hut. I'll be fine. Like, you gotta challenge. Sometimes you gotta challenge the stomach. Otherwise the stomach gets a little weak. You know, you gotta throw a curveball every once in a while and be like, hey, 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 keep you on your toes, all right? So not everything is gonna be nice and cooked. There's gonna be some bacteria that gets in there. Okay, man, you gotta be ready to go. All right, gotta keep you sharp. Um, AKF, I was wanting Cup 2, but not for. Oh yeah, absolutely not. And to be honest with you, I don't even think I wanted him for 10 million. Um, just because of it, like the amount, like dude, that guy has not been healthy for 3 consecutive years, and it's not been close either. Like he's been gone for like weeks at a time because of some type of injury. So yeah, to me, I think the only way the Packers would have signed him is if he would have signed like a 1 year, $5 million, $6 million contract. I think anything more than that, I think the Packers would have been like, eh. And at the same time, too, the Packers are in. They've always been wanting younger players, especially at their pass catching positions, whether that's tight end or receiver, especially receiver. Like, when's the last time they signed a veteran wide receiver? It hasn't happened, I think, in the last like 10 years. We can talk about a few guys at the tight end position that they've signed. Martellus Bennett. Martellus? Yeah. Yeah, Martellus. I was thinking of his brother, Michael. Yeah, Martellus Bennett, Jimmy Graham. Like, they've signed guys that have been older. Mercedes Lewis. But granted, that was a while ago for sure, and they've skewed significantly younger at those positions because I think they believe that they can develop them quicker, and I think they can keep and also typically those guys when they want to get paid, typically they're getting paid an insane amount. Like you're looking at receivers that are getting paid $30 million. That is the same as some of the best, and I mean the best defensive players in the game. Like Miles Garrett is getting paid almost the same what T Higgins might be getting paid, and I get it. Those guys are great. The receivers, Devontae Adams, Jefferson, those guys are amazing. But they are still they still have such a small impact, and on top of that, they don't touch the ball often. So yeah, to me it's wild. So I would rather spend $30 million and sign potentially two really solid starters on the defensive side than spend that $30 million on a receiver. Because I think you can spread out that production over two or three players, and it could be just as good, in my opinion. But the only way I'd pay cut 15 million is if he was 1 year, but even then I'd be hesitant. Yeah, that's a lot of money too, and especially if he gets hurt that 1 year, then you just lost $15 million. And I mean, throughout his history, man, there's been a high chance of him getting hurt, especially lately. But yeah, man, 15 million is a lot for him. I'm curious to see what that contract looks like and what type of guaranteed money is involved in that, because that is a lot. 3 year, $45 million. I'm assuming, if I had to guess, in terms of guaranteed money, anywhere between 15 to 23. You know, maybe less. It might be just 12 million that's guaranteed. And AKF, any current free agents you'd like to see the pack go after? Let me see here. There is. So to me, I believe that they still need to pick up. Um, I would like to see them pick up at least one more corner to add some more depth and some competition to that secondary. I think their defensive line needs some competition, and the offensive line as well. Let me see if I guess I. They need a pass rusher for sure. Von Miller obviously is a name, but I don't think he would fit with what the Packers want to do. Trying to see here. Matt Judon. I would like to see them kind of see what they can do there. Zadarius Smith. He's proven that when he's put in a situational pass rush snap, he does pretty well. So I wouldn't be opposed to Z coming back, but I wouldn't want him to be the number one guy like he was when he was first here. But with that, Zadarius, I think when he left Green Bay, he did not have positive things to say. And I think part of that has been, there might be a little bit of some hurt feelings from each side. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. I would like them to pick up either Kendall Fuller or Stephon Gilmore. I know Stephon is more of a zone player. Doesn't really play a whole lot of man to man, which is right now what the Packers like to do. They especially on the outside. But I would like to kind of see what they can do with Stephon Gilmore. Man, the guy is still great in coverage, or at least very good in coverage. I should say, and a veteran player that has played at an extremely, extremely high level for a long time. And I think he would do great at potentially mentoring, even if it's not sitting them down and telling them what they need to do. I think just the example that he could set would be pretty interesting to see. There's definitely some solid corner options still out there. They're all over 30 though, except Jeff Okuda. And that was the other guy too that I was looking at, Jeff Okuda. I know he was a former top 5 pick for the Detroit Lions. He got traded. I think he's been traded either once or he's been once or a couple times now, but he'd been bouncing around the league for a while but he's still relatively young, 26 years old. And to me, I think maybe the potential is just getting to me. Granted, it's been a while since he's been played. I don't know, man. It's with Jeff Okuda. He's young, but I think you already know what he is at this point. But I think it would be worth and I guarantee you can get him for probably the veteran minimum. And I think it'd be worth a shot. Uh, Charles Ominihu Ominyahu. uh, he was a defensive end for the Chiefs. There, he's still relatively young, about 27 years old. Like, I would like to see what he could do with the Packers. He's never been sensational, but when you look at the last 2 years, in 2023 he had 7 sacks. In 2022 he had 5. Last year he only had the one, but I think he was dealing with some injuries. He only played in 6 games, and also the 7 sacks that he had in 2023, he did it in just 11 games. You know, guy is not gonna be. He's not even 28 years old. He's played for a winning franchise, and he's been productive when he's been healthy. I think that would be a really solid pick up for the Packers. Asante Samuel is still out there too, surprisingly. Yeah, Asante Samuel. I remember it's been. I'm not gonna lie. The last 2 years, I've barely heard anything about him. Um, Granted, there's a lot of players in the league, so I'm not gonna be able to. I wouldn't be able to pay attention to everybody. Doesn't mean that he hasn't been productive. Let me look at him here. But yeah, that is a player that I was hoping the Packers would pick up, and I mean at this point, looks like they still have a chance. But Charles Omeniu, again, I'm butchering that name. I know I am. But yeah, the defensive end for KC, man. That's a guy that I want the Packers to pick up. Rasul Douglas, he's barely 30 years old. Obviously, he's played in this with the Packers. He hasn't played in this system though, but he does like to be relatively aggressive. It does get him in trouble at times. He doesn't have the athleticism or the speed to really kind of take those risks on a consistent basis. So I think he would have to be a little bit smarter with the way he plays, especially as he's getting older. Why can't I find Asante Samuel here? Let me let me do the old Google there here. So apparently, Sante has done a visit with the Cardinals. We see here. Why are there no stats for him right now? My goodness. All right, let's look at his numbers here. So his rookie year, 2021, 2 interceptions, 43 total tackles. Second year, 57 total tackles, 2 interceptions. So yeah, he started out his career with at least 2 interceptions the first 3 years. This past season, by far his worst, but he also only played in 4 games. But he still had 2 defensive passes defended, which is 2 more than Eric Stoke had in the last 3 years. Sorry, Eric. No, that was just mean. I shouldn't have said that. No need for Eric Stokes to take a shot like that by me. My apologies. But yeah, man, Asante, yeah, like all his numbers look solid. He doesn't look amazing, but I think he would be a really solid addition to this team. I don't know what kind of play style he has. Is he more of a zone guy, or can he play man? because I think that would be the biggest reason why he may still be out there. David, gotta go walk the dog. Thanks for the hangout. Absolutely, David. I appreciate you, my dude. Thank you once again for watching the breakdown video, and say hello to the pupper for me, man. Hopefully, it's a great walk. But yeah, man. Yeah, AKF, man. I like what you're saying, man. Asante Samuel. Again, I would have to look at what kind of play style he has, but I mean, his numbers look good to me. Maybe the injury is scaring some people away. I don't know, but again, guy is relatively young. He's 25, doesn't turn 26 until October. He's a little bit smaller than I think the Packers would want. Then that might be a reason that the Packers like to have their corners a little bit north of 5'11". 5'11" to like 6'2". That's when they usually like. Jair is obviously was the exception to the rule, because I think Goody really liked Jair quite a bit there. He was his first ever pick as a GM, and granted I even think Jair is probably still 5'11". So, but yeah, maybe that's the reason why the Packers really haven't been looking his way. But yeah. According to the spot track, the Sanchez value is 11.5 million. Same value for. Oh, nice. Heck yeah. I mean, 11.5. That's not too bad for a corner, especially a guy that has the potential to be a starter. And granted, when I'm talking about like a nickel defense as well, especially nowadays, it's like you have to have 3 starting corners. You have to play nickel for the majority of your snaps in the NFL nowadays. So I could see, yeah, man. I'm hoping we pick up somebody like this right here that has shown that they have been able to play at a relatively okay level. At the very least, they can get their hands on the ball. Yeah, but yeah. Menu is definitely a guy that I've been looking at. I couldn't think of his. I was like Charles something. And then I saw his name, and I was like, oh, that's probably why I couldn't remember it, because I can't pronounce it correctly. But yeah, man. So yeah, the Packers definitely need pass rush help. They need to add more depth to their corner room. They did a great job last year of revamping the safety room, and I think you're seeing the benefit of that. And I think they need to do the same thing to their corner room. And they already have some solid guys. Carrington Valentine's is solid. Keyshawn Nixon is solid. Kalen King has the potential to be a solid rotational guy that they picked up from Penn State. I mean, I think it was like 2 years ago. Kalen, if he would have come out of the draft, I think there is talks of him being a day 2 pick, or at the very least a 4th round pick. But he had such a bad year that actually all of Penn State had such a bad year overall, that defense, that he almost didn't get drafted. So there's potential there. Hobbs, I think he's a solid guy. He might be more of a nickel, but I think the Packers are going to want to play him outside because of his size. But yeah, I think the Packers still need to add at least 2 guys, whether that's a veteran and a draft pick or 2 draft picks. They got to get younger, they got to get faster, and they got to have more bodies that can be productive in that backfield, that defensive backfield, I should say. I think their linebackers are solid. They probably just need to draft one more guy for depth, but I think they can find that in free agency or even unrestricted. Not unrestricted, undrafted free agency. They definitely need some more beef in the middle. Kenny Clark is getting older. They lost T.J. Slayton, and then on top of that, they need somebody on the edge that can consistently get to the quarterback. Rashawn Gary is fine, but when he's the only guy that can do it on a consistent basis, the defense is always going to shift to him, and there's going to be double teams, triple teams on him. And the other guys have to step up and, make plays. I'd like those 2 pickups and maybe restructure for Jair. Same. It's, the Jair thing has been weird for over a year at this point. I think I mentioned this before, it really started when he was almost started when he was suspended. And you could definitely tell even leading up to that game where he decided to make himself the captain. There was definitely some drama. You could definitely tell the way he was talking about when the media would ask him a question. He was kind of, I don't want to say dismissive, but he was very strange about it. In the jaw way that he is. He's very cheeky and stuff like that. But you could definitely tell that there was a little bit of frustration. I think it was either the scheme, the Joe Barry scheme, or just the lack of production from everybody. And I think that's understandable. And then, the injuries, the practicing but not playing, it was a whole different thing. So yeah, it's and Ja has never, I don't think he's ever publicly requested a trade. So it's maybe he hasn't been willing to come to the table for a restructure. Maybe that's the issue, probably. But yeah, man, it's I hope he stays because I think he's still a good player when he's healthy. I think they just need to get him healthy. And on top of that, I think maybe there just needs to be a little bit of a slight culture change. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Give these guys a little bit more freedom to express themselves. Especially Ja, because I think he's not a crazy guy. He's not like a guy that's creating drama. You don't see him in the news doing dumb stuff off the field or anything like that. But it's more of like he's an eccentric guy. He's a very weird individual, but in a good way, I feel like. So I don't know. I think if we get another quality edge rusher, Rashawn Gary will have a monster season. I still don't know if he made up the Pro Bowl. Same, dude. Same. I think he's well respected. Rashawn Gary is very well liked by NFL players. Like if you look at some of the interviews that he's had leading up to this 2024 season, I think there's a oh my god, I'm trying to think of his name. He played for the Eagles, Chris Long, defensive end. But yeah, you could tell it during that interview that Chris Long loves Rashawn Gary. Because he asked him, he's like, hey, what do you think you're going to be able to do this year? And Rashawn was like, 12 to 14 sacks. And Chris Long said, he's like, dude, I've seen you. I wouldn't be surprised if you hit 15 or more. And you can tell Rashawn was like, oh man, that'd be awesome. Like Chris Long, you can just tell, there's a lot of guys around the league, retired guys that are still playing, that love the way Rashawn plays. Whether it's because of his ability, his size, the way he plays, the film that he puts out there. There's no lack of effort for Rashawn. This is not one of those where we overpaid him, now he's just getting lazy. Rashawn goes 110% every dang snap. Sometimes he gets a little overzealous, might lose containment, but he's been getting a lot better than at that. Early in his career, he would just completely over commit to one thing. Now he's a little bit smarter with it. But now I just think that he needs a Robin to his Batman, or heck, he needs a Batman to his other Batman. Let's do some multiverse stuff. All right, let's just sign a bunch of Batman at edge rusher. Everybody's a Batman. But yeah, man. I agree. I think Rashawn. I think if he can find somebody that is able to take some attention away from him, I think you're going to start to see him make some plays. And it doesn't have to be sacks. We're talking about tackles for a loss, pressures that forces the quarterback to throw the ball away, things like that. Those are just as important as sacks. Granted, you want the sacks, loss of down, loss of yardage, things like that, potential turnovers. But at this point, the pressure, you can definitely tell, especially against some of the better teams, the pressure for Green Bay just did not exist. And I think the secondary was doing its best. I think the linebackers were doing their best, but you can only hold out for so long consistently. It just doesn't happen, man. There's just too much talent on the offense for any NFL team to be. If you can't get to the quarterback, eventually they're going to be able to find drives, find plays to get down the field and create points. Just the way it is. But yeah, I still think it's criminal. Madden has him rated under 85. Oh, really? I'm not saying he's a 90, but to me, Rashawn is a 87, 89. He to me, he's that guy that He just needs to take that one extra step, and then he's elite. Because I think right now he's in the ballpark. He's in the, of the 32 guys at his position, he's in the top half, I would say. So yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe again, I'm biased. I'm a Packer fan. I like the guy. I've seen him be productive. I've seen him fight through injuries and come back even stronger. So I'm definitely not going to pretend like there is no fan bias when I'm I like my guys. I'm always going to believe, even when Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls and Peyton Manning was winning Super Bowls and all these, I still thought Rodgers was the best quarterback in the league from basically 2011 until about 2017, 2018. I truly believed for that 6 to 7 year span, there was not a single quarterback in the NFL that played better than Rodgers. Yeah, he's an 82 overall superstar. Wow, jeez. The disrespect. The disrespect. I don't know. Maybe it keeps him motivated, man. Hopefully that, Rashawn's like, what, at 82? Boom. But yeah, man. I don't know. It's interesting. Oh man, dude. If we could have had Rashawn Gary with a prime Clay Matthews, damn dude. Would have been wild. Yeah, man. But Rashawn Gary, um, Lucas Van Ness, I'm not ready to give up on that kid. And like it's only been 2 years. He has a lot of potential. Strong kid. He's also very, very young too. He came out of college relatively young. And I think we've seen it with Rashawn. Like his first 2 years were not the most eventful. His rookie year he barely played. He was behind Preston and Zadarius. Um, and then his second year you can see the glimpses of Rashawn, becoming the player that he would become a little bit here and there. And then year three was the coming out party for Rashawn. That's when he finally took over, in my opinion. So with Lucas Van Ness, his rookie season was solid, in my opinion. I think he looked more impressive his first year than he did in his second. But again, new system, new responsibility, new position as well, slightly. So I want to give the kid some grace, and I want to see what he does in his second year with Jeff Hafley and his third year in the NFL. The Packers' highest rated player in Madden are McKinney and Jacobs. They're both 92. Then Ja is 91. Interesting. There we go. Jacobs and McKinney. I can definitely see that, man. They both had amazing seasons for the Packers, dude. I was very happy. Like, those are home run hitting free agents there, and that doesn't happen too often. Ja, I'm a little bit more surprised that he's still 91, but I mean, once again, when he does play, he's one of the better corners, or I would say one of the best corners in and he's top 10. When he's healthy, he's top 10. He's, whether it's because of injury, the last few seasons I've seen him get beat more than he usually has, but I want to chalk that up maybe to, the Joe Barry system, maybe some frustration, something that's going on. I don't know. But this is going to be a big year for Ja, whether he's on the Packers or not. Because I think when you think of him, people still think of him as potentially being an elite corner. But there's, once again, it's been a couple years. I think after 2 so-so seasons, whether it's because of injury or not, I think your reputation will start taking a hit, and we'll see what happens with Ja. He was 94 when the game released. Holy cow! Yeah, I still have. I think I'm still playing Madden 23. I don't think I have any of the new ones. I saw that Madden 25 was like on sale for like $12. I almost wanted to get it, but I was like, I heard it was not good. I heard Madden, was it 24, 25? Was pretty bad. Let me know if I'm wrong. Should I get it for $12? Let me know. And Nick Chubb, man. Nick Chubb is still a free agent. I know he did not look like the player that he was, but I'm still surprised that nobody's been willing to take a little bit of a risk with a 1 year contract on him. Calais Campbell, that's another guy that I would not mind if the Packers signed. You know, he's 38, going to be 39, but man, dude, the guy just seems to be ageless at this point. Like, you want him to, you know, be there during a run play to help the run or stop the run. He's there. You want to put some pressure on the quarterback, you can do that still. Calais Campbell, man, the ageless wonder. That's a guy that I'm like, if the Packers said, hey, we signed him to a 1 year, $11 million contract, I'd be like, all right. I mean, to me, he's proven. He's proven that he can probably still be productive. You know, eventually that won't happen, but hopefully it won't be, you know, this year if the Packers sign him. Has Campbell ever played on a cold weather team though? Oh, that is a good question. Baltimore. He played for Baltimore. Holy cow, Calais Campbell, 2008. He came into the league in 2008. That was the what was that? The year. That was the same year that Rodgers became a starter for the first time. Jesus. Holy cow, man. Calais Campbell is insane. 2008. This guy's been playing in 3 different decades. And it's not like he's a kicker. Yeah. So yeah, he's played in with the Ravens. He was there from 2020 until 2023. Yeah. Plus, have you seen Calais Campbell? Man, that dude's freaking massive. He's a massive human being. He can handle the cold. But yeah, his last contract with Atlanta was for 1 year, $7 million. And then this past year, he signed a 1 year, $2 million contract. Yeah, for Atlanta, for $7 million, he racked up 7 sacks. I think that would have been good for second on the Packers, I think, this past year. And then for Miami, for just $2 million, they were able to get 600 snaps, 5 sacks, over 50 plus tackles, and a fumble, a forced fumble. I think the cold weather factor is why Good doesn't sign a lot of older free agents. Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's also why a lot of free agents decide not to really want to play in Green Bay still. But yeah, when you look at Calais Campbell, his sack numbers, it's been a long time since he's had double-digit sacks. His last double-digit sack season was with Jacksonville in 2018 with 11. But since then, he's had 4, 2, 6, 7, and 5. Um, multiple. He's averaging over like 45 tackles per game. He's averaging about 500 snaps. Yeah, the guy is just solid. Like I said, Calais Campbell, if he were to be signed by the Packers, he wouldn't be their starter. He would be a rotational pass rusher, rotational guy. At least we know anyone who is willing to, because he was probably pretty tough. Oh, absolutely. No, man, especially and yeah, especially when it gets cold, man. Like what was it? I think it was Acho, Emmanuel Acho. He was like basically telling. I think he has like a show on ESPN or something like that, or F1 or whatever. It's with a bunch of other football players, but they were talking about like what they used to do when it was like super bitter cold during their games. And Acho was like, he's like, no, I did Vaseline, man, Vaseline, and then just put your like a spandex kind of stuff or underneath Under Armour stuff there, and it would just insulate you. So yeah, so I mean, there's tricks. There's definitely tricks that you can do. Baby, give me my Vaseline. But yeah, man, heck of yeah, man. Hopefully the Packers can at least sign, at least one of these guys. I think they need a pass rusher. I don't think they're in a great position to draft one that could be truly impactful right away. But I mean, you find players when you find players. Second round, third round, fourth round. We've seen it every single draft. You find great players wherever they can make an impact right away. You just have to hopefully find the right guy and train him well. But I think you can help yourself by having some backups. Having some decent depth. And that's what the Packers need, in my opinion. We need a Toyota X Packers partnership for the memes. It's always for the memes. Always for the memes. Oh, that's hilarious, man. Yep. Holy biscuits, man. But yeah. David, what's up? Welcome back, my dude. How was the walk? How's the pupper? Yeah, we were just talking about Calais Campbell and being a potential option for the Packers. 38 years old, gonna be 39, but over the last 3 seasons, he had a season in Baltimore, Atlanta, and then last year he was with Miami. In those 3 seasons, he has combined for 18 sacks. He's gone over 1,800 snaps and has over 140 tackles, along with 4 forced fumbles as well. So, like I said, for a guy that's been in the back end of 30 for the last couple of years, he's been pretty productive. Was a short walk. The wind brought in some smoke, so it's not healthy to be. Oh, absolutely not. Nope, 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 nope. Wow. Well, hopefully the pupper got a little bit of a little exercise there. Got to have some fun, maybe a little bit. But yeah, man. I forgot MVS did sign with a team. He signed with the Seahawks. So the Seahawks have Marquez Valdez Scantling. They have Cooper Cup. Hot dang. And they're just signing all the receivers at this point. Hmm. Let me see here. And the final guy that I wanted to talk about in terms of free agency was a guy that I was kind of curious to see if the Packers would even entertain this, but I knew that he was going to probably be too expensive or a little bit out. The price would be too high for what the Packers would want, and that was Puna Ford, the defensive tackle that played for the Chargers last year. He was had a little bit of a resurgence with the Chargers, man, and he looked good. He looked probably the fastest, the strongest he's ever played, which is at least fastest he's been in a while. It looked like he was kind of going downhill a little bit, or at least the arrow was pointing down. But big season, and he cashed it in. He got a 3-year, $27 million contract, and looks like it's basically it's a 2-year, $18 million contract. But yeah, man, he looked phenomenal, and it's gonna be interesting what he decides to, basically what he decides to do over there with the Rams. Yeah, man, he joins a very, very talented front end there because you got Braden Foskey, Kobe Turner. I mean that to that front seven for the Rams, dude. We saw what happened during basically their last two games, man. I think they racked up nearly 16 sacks during those playoff games. It was pretty wild, and they just added a guy that if he can continue to get back to what he used to play like early in his career, it's gonna cause a big problem, man. Yeah, you got Taylor Davis, Braden Foskey. Now, obviously, Puna Ford. You got former Packer Jack Heflin down there, who was pretty solid. Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, Byron Young, obviously. So yeah, man, just a lot of players that can be impactful guys there for the Rams defensively. So yeah, Puna Ford was a guy that I was hoping the Packers would pick up because I think they could have gotten him for. I was hoping they could get him for a cheaper deal, maybe a 1-year prove it deal, but granted, he already had the 1-year deal with the Chargers and he proved it. So time to cash in. So All right. So before I head out here, I was gonna give you an update on the draft here for myself. So I am officially going there for sure. I was able to register, get everything situated. Um, there's once again, I'm not gonna be like one of those people that are like all geared up, that are in the atrium and things like that. It's a little out of my price range right now. Day three is potential option. I could have done it, but it'll be like maybe not this time. But we'll be definitely going to the draft, man, and it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna try to figure out a way to live stream some of this stuff. I'll be curious to see if they'll let me bring in my laptop at all. I doubt it. It seems like they're pretty strict about what you bring in. Obviously, my phone, that's gonna be probably good enough for what I can do. There's a chance that I can meet some players. I doubt I'll be able to do any interviews, but I'll try to see maybe what I can do. I'm gonna try to, like I said, I'm gonna try to get you guys some fun content, especially if you've never been to kind of that thing. And granted, I have never been to any of that stuff there, so you'll get a chance to kind of hopefully view it through my eyes. And if the draft ever comes near you or where you live, and at least you'll kind of know maybe what to expect. I almost feel like I'm a travel guide. I'm gonna give you some tips and some tricks, and but yeah, man. So officially going there, got everything situated. Now it's just gonna be how many people are gonna be there. I'm not a person that likes to be in crowds. Like, I don't freak out, but I just like my space. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. I'm probably gonna be miserable. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be not hot, but it's gonna be a lot of walking, a lot of people, a lot of noise. But I'll have a great time because it's gonna be about football. The draft is one of my favorite things, and we're gonna find a way to kind of do something here on this channel for it. And in the future, when obviously the reason I'm doing this is because it's so close. It's finally in Green Bay, first time ever I want to do it. But any future drafts, I will likely be home and gonna try to do like a ticker box and do the whole draft thing here for you guys. So, but potentially once in a lifetime thing here, a draft in Lambeau Field. I gotta go there in person, man. So, but yeah, man. So, let me see here. At least we have Cooper DeJean, Mustard, and Van down by the River Jefferson to talk about this upcoming season. That is very true. I was hoping Van Jefferson would be signed by the Packers if they decided to sign a free agent, but that did not happen. Unbelievable. But yeah, Cooper DeJean Mustard, man, that freaking guy. We could have had him. Packers could have drafted him, but they decided to go somewhere with someone else here. But heck of a season by Cooper DeJean, man. Let me see here. David, I was supposed to have tried to go to the one in KC, but attempts were not even made because I figured it was going to be worse than normal downtown KC traffic. Oh, absolutely. I guarantee you that's probably going to be one of the worst parts of this entire thing. Trying to find any remote, like anything close to parking, probably within miles. Yeah, like I said, it's probably, and like I said, Green Bay is a small town. It is a town. It's not a city, to be honest with you. Yeah, even though it might be considered a city, I don't know. It is very small. I've been there a few occasions. There is not a whole lot of room. I've been there recently, this past summer for the owners meeting. I'm not an owner. Luckily, I have somebody that is, so they brought me along. But yeah, man, it was like, even that was like, it was manageable. Obviously, they only have a couple, like, I think it was like 10 to 20,000 people that showed up for the owners meeting, but you're gonna get probably close to 300,000 people at one time going to Lambeau Field, or within that like square mile. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That doesn't include like all the companies, all the brands, all this other stuff that's gonna be there, but we'll see, man. Hopefully it's a success for Green Bay because it is something that they've been hoping to succeed at for probably over the last 20 years. This is really the biggest thing that Mark Murphy has been building towards throughout his time as the CEO, and it's been and they're almost there. They're almost to the finish line, and I hope it's successful because I would want another draft here in Green Bay at some point because whether that's 10 years, 15 years down the road, if I'm still doing this, which I hope I am, I hope I can do something even more special than what I'm going to be doing in basically in about a month and change. So you should say hi to Tom Grassi. Oh, absolutely, man. Heck yeah. Yeah, I don't know. If I see Tom there for sure, I will definitely talk to him. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if he would even if I reached out to him beforehand. Like I don't even know if he would respond, which is not like a bad thing. I just Tom is a busy guy. Like the guy is nonstop working on something. So, but yeah, man, if I do see Tom Grassi, I'm definitely gonna be saying hi to him because yeah, that guy has like let's be honest, if you're a Packer fan and you watch anything on YouTube, you had to have interacted with Tom at some point, whether it's like one-on-one or in the chat or whatever, or just simply watching his content. You definitely know about Tom Grassi. So, but yeah, man, hopefully I get to see Tom there, man. Seems like a good guy, and it'd be pretty cool to, get him on the channel, even if it's like a quick, like, hey, I met Tom Grassi. So that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, man, really excited for it, man. Um, hopefully there's like they said during like the kind of like the breakdown that you should be able to. They're gonna have like ways you can meet players, kind of like signings and stuff like that. Hopefully those things are not so long that it is like impossible to get in line, but we'll see, man. It's there should be plenty of opportunities for some really cool stuff at the draft. It's gonna be like 3-4 days there, music, all this other stuff. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to record a large chunk of that stuff for you guys, so you guys can get a little bit of a taste of what to expect if you decide to go to a draft. All right, man. Holy cow, man. We have been streaming for close to 2 hours, man. Thank you so much, man, to David, to AKF, man. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. Anybody else that has been watching, thank you. Please subscribe, like the channel. We're trying to get this channel to 100 subscribers. That is the goal. I'm trying to hit that hopefully by the draft. Hopefully that'll be something that we can push towards during that draft. But otherwise, please leave a like at the very least. It's free. It helps out the channel immensely. And also, I just dropped a video a couple hours ago breaking down some football film. Check it out if that's your thing. Please leave a like. Let me know if you liked it, if you didn't, whatever it is, man. Give me some feedback. Trying to figure it out. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And obviously a shout out to AKF and David. Thank you. And have a great night, guys. Have a great weekend. And I will catch you guys next week. I'll try to drop another film video here sometime on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we'll see you guys on Friday for another hangout. So, and also if there's any big signings or anything like that, I'll drop something in the community post, and I might even do like a YouTube short, kind of get some content out and kind of keep it going. So hopefully the Packers got one more signing in them. Hopefully it's a pass rusher or another corner, something. Give us a little bit of something here. But yeah, man, David, have a great night, man. Hopefully the pupper is okay. Hopefully you get a chance to go for a more extended walk next time, my friend. I appreciate you. AKF, thank you again, man. We definitely need to do something with the, what would you say, Toyota X Packers partnership? Absolutely. It's got to be something to go. Hey, man, I'm just saying. And then don't forget, the Seahawks cheated. And as well as James Harrison, they used magnets, and the referees were we're in collusion with the magnets. That's the conspiracy theory that we're going to be spreading for the next couple of weeks here on the channel. We're going to try to spread that as far as we can. So, once again, watch out for those magnets and those referees. All right, man. Thank you so much, guys. My name is Dave, and this is I'm Not a Coach. Thank you.